damage from Storm Agnes this week. We will rebuild in time. In time we will rebuild. Hello again everybody and welcome back to this week's Friday update, and happy Friday. So this week the UK was hit by Storm Agnes, the first named storm of the season. Thankfully we didn't really bear the brunt of the strongest winds. We are in the northwest of England, but it was Ireland and parts of Wales that got the worst of it, and we are sheltered by these trees here which shelter us from the westerly winds. So the plot didn't suffer any damage actually, to be honest, so that's good. So in this week's update I'm just going to go around a few things in the plot and show you the progress there, because there is still quite a bit going on even though it's right at the end of September. And then we're going to be planting our tulips and our daffodils for some lovely flowers next spring. And I have a lovely selection of different tulips as well, which I'm really excited to grow. We grew tulips this year and we did get a few nice blooms, but we're growing many more tulips for next year, so I'm really excited to show you those. So I do hope you enjoy this week's Friday update. These violet coloured phlox at the front of the plot are still in bloom, which is really surprising, but there again we have had a really warm September. But yeah, these are lovely. These have been really nice this year and still going strong even now. This is our Dillard's Atlantic Giant Pumpkin single seed challenge. I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like it is a little bit bigger this week compared to last week. And of course this is growing in just horse manure. This is a pile of horse manure here, nothing else. Now last week we went over these butternut squashes and pumpkins in this bed here, this pure horse manure bed here, the big pile of horse manure. And yeah, there were a few nice butternut squashes growing in here. Not really much change, to be honest. That one's probably got a little bit bigger, and I am keeping an eye on this. Some more squashes there, quite a few different ones. I think that's a spaghetti squash actually there. There's some nice green pumpkins here as well, which I think are gradually getting bigger and bigger now. Last week we were still picking these courgettes and we were actually struggling to keep on top of them, to be honest. We had some really big courgettes and they're still going strong. Look at that, still producing courgettes, and it's nearly October. Crazy, just madness. From June up until now they're still producing. Last week we looked at these tromboncino squashes and quite a few of them were rotting and falling off. There are some bigger tromboncino squashes now. They are starting to grow finally, doing all right I think, but look how many there is. Look at that, I can see around a dozen of them just on this one plant here. The beans have definitely seen better days. They are looking very sorry for themselves now. They are coming to an end. Well, they have come to an end, they're completely finished, to be honest. We've not harvested these for a few weeks now. All the pods are drying up here, so I'm going to be picking them in the next week or two and saving the seeds for next year. Last week we looked at these aubergines. Shortly after we had the issue with the aphids, we have sprayed them. There are still a few aphids on there actually, but they don't seem to be out of control. The plants seem to be okay. Loads of flowers still, and one aubergine over there. Yeah, I think they're just slowing down because it is much cooler now, to be honest. But look how many flowers are on there. Look at that, there's loads of flowers. So yeah, we'll see what happens with them. Not much movement at the moment though. And unfortunately there's not been much movement with the peppers either. They do look very lush. Last week I think I showed you these peppers and there were some small green ones on there which we've picked and we've eaten some of them now. Okay, last week we picked our gherkins. I need to clear this, these are completely finished. Yeah, we picked loads of gherkins from here. I've already pickled a few jars. I think I left these gherkins on the plants too long and the skins got really tough. The flavour wasn't great and the seeds have gone really tough as well. It's not really nice to eat. Brussels sprouts are slowly but surely starting to grow. Week by week, I'm noticing that them buttons are starting to get bigger and bigger. So I've just pulled the soil back around one of these parsnips and you can see there that the tops are looking pretty decent. I think in the next week or two, I'm going to do a parsnip reveal video. Yeah, really nice lush growth on these parsnips, doing really well. I'm expecting some really nice parsnips from this bed. Last week we sprayed these Christmas potatoes with some bicarbonate of soda mixture and some hydrogen peroxide to see if we could slow down or eradicate the blight. And no, I don't think we have, to be honest. Some plants, just like this one here, don't seem to have as much blight on them, to be honest, but others have been completely obliterated by it. We'll see what happens. Will the plants bounce back? You know, as the weather gets cooler and less humid, you know, will we be able to reduce the blight and will these plants recover? We will see. And also last week we planted our elephant garlic corms and our normal garlic, and already there's shoots appearing on them all. Not all of them, quite a few of them. Roots are coming out the bottom of all the cells, so they are all starting to root now. No difference really with our cabbages and mizuna for the winter. They don't really look much different, to be honest. They're doing pretty well though. Rocket, which we sowed the other week, really nice. We'll be able to pick these soon, I think. Some nice rocket leaves there. Lovely autumn salads. And then we have some cos lettuce as well. Yeah, they're doing all right, I suppose, you know, growing happily. Okay, so I've shown you a little bit around the plot, just what's going on at the moment, an update from last week. And now we're going to plant some tulips and some daffodils. I've got 3 different varieties of tulips which I'm going to be planting. I've got rockery mixed, and then we've got some just mixed varieties here, just some tall mixed varieties of tulip. And then we've got some double tulips, a mixed bag of double type tulips. And then obviously we've just got our standard mixed types of daffodils. Okay, so the other day I actually cleared this long flower bed along here which had the cornflowers in, and I'm going to be planting the daffodils in this bed. Okay, so this is just what I'm doing here. Going to plant the bulbs around about twice the depth of the bulb. There are some alliums in this bed as well, down the middle of the bed, so not on the edge where I'm planting them. They come up sort of around May time, so these will come up earlier before the alliums. I don't want them all coming up at the same time because it'd just be a mess. So these daffodils will come up, you know, like March, April, and then they'll die back, and then the alliums in the middle will take over in May and June. Okay, so I'm actually going to plant a couple in each hole, so they're quite close together, like that. And yeah, roughly twice the depth of the bulb itself. Okay, so yeah, much closer than last year. And then I'm going to be doing this all the way along this bed. Okay, so with the tulips, this one end of the raised bed here, I've actually added some spent compost from our potato buckets this year. Just added a couple of buckets of them on top, just to make it a bit deeper, because it is a no-dig bed. So this soil here is, deep enough now to plant the tulips 6 inches deep. It's important that you do plant your tulips 6 inches deep at least, because otherwise you're going to end up with foliage that flops over when it comes up, and you're not really going to get any good tulips. So yeah, planting them deep is important, and that's why I've done this. So yeah, I've got 3 varieties, of course, so I'm going to try and separate them, sort of use a third of this area for each variety so they're not all mixed together. So yeah, just a quick one today, really, showing you what's going on around the plot and then planting the daffodils and the tulips. So if you like the video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you can see when I upload new content just like this. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next one. Remember, happy gardening and enjoy it no matter the weather.